How's it going, guys? I wanted to tell you a little bit about our series that we have begun that is called Redefined at Solas on Sunday nights. It's called Redefined, looking at life through the lens of the gospel and redefining some of the significant issues that we have and the significant terms and the significant ideas of how we do life, how we live life. We talk about a lot of very important things that are significant in our lives, but allowing not the culture or allowing other lies to define those things for us and what that looks like, but allowing the gospel, allowing scripture to define what those things should be, what those things are. Coming off of First John, we were just in First John for a long time, and coming out of First John, we had been talking about how there's a lot of false teachings and they're not the truth of what we should be living. And yet we listen to those things to define what we say about those things. We start off this whole series talking about our worldview, which is how we view the world, how we view life, how we understand life to be. And within that, it has something because it comes from a belief system within us. So we have certain things that we believe at the core of who we are that make us act a certain way. Something that we believe makes us believe that it's okay to live this certain way or to think about this certain thing or to have a certain lens to look at the world in a way that it isn't necessarily true. And so we are taking the gospel, letting the gospel redefine very significant issues. We kick off everything with an intro. We are going to talk about tolerance in a culture like ours that has a demand for tolerance. And we're going to look at what does it mean to be tolerant in a world that demands intolerance and demands tolerance. What does that look like for us as Christians, but also just as truth? What does that mean? Then we're going to talk about our identity, the things that we wrap all of ourselves up into, the things that we call who we are, how much of that is a lie, how much of that is truth of who we truly are. Then we're going to be talking about redefining the word Christian. What does it mean to be a Christian? What does it mean to be a follower of Jesus? What's true and what's really a lie? What are the common misperceptions of what a Christian really is and what a Christian ought to be, and how we ought to pursue life as a follower of Jesus? Then we're going to start to talk into some of the deeper issues like pain. We have a certain understanding of pain that our culture and our society and that our history has kind of desired for us. But let's take a look at what pain really is and how we ought to perceive pain and how we ought to interact with it and redefine pain through the lens of the gospel. We're also going to talk about being a witness. We know that we are called to go to the ends of the earth and tell the story of Jesus Christ, but how do we do that? What does that look like? And what are some misperceptions of being a witness and of living out our faith that maybe we have and we've begun to believe that are actually false? And then we have 2 weeks. We actually divided it up into 2 weeks. We eventually had it as one, and we decided that wasn't going to work. But then we are going to do 1 week. We're going to bring in a guest, and we're going to talk about masculinity, redefining masculinity through the lens of Scripture and through the lens of the gospel. What does it look like to be a man of God? What should it look like? What ought it to look like? And then the next week, we're going to talk about femininity. Everyone should be at both of those talks. It is good for the women to understand what a masculine, biblically masculine man ought to be and should be, and the same thing for men. What should women live for, and what should they be pursuing as being redefining their femininity through the lens of the gospel? We ought to know those things. And then we're going to go, because of that, we're going to jump right into the next week is going to be about dating, redefining dating through the lens of the gospel. What should that look like? And then we're going to go and talk about beauty. Our world has a twisted understanding of what beauty really is, and the gospel and the word and scripture has so much to say about beauty and what real beauty is. And so we're going to redefine beauty through the lens of the gospel. We're going to close the entire series talking about hope. In a world that feels hopeless and seems hopeless when you look at different realities, let's take a look at what hope really is and realize that we have every reason to live life with hope. And so we're going to talk about that to close it out, and that is going to bring us right up into Easter. And so I would love to see you there. I'd love to see you engaging with us as we define and redefine very significant issues in life through the lens of the gospel. We'll see you on Sunday night.